Man, toys from back in the day were just awesome. We had the best time going to the store and picking one out and coming home and playing with it. Join us while we go back and give you a brief history, personal connection, pop culture impact, and value when we dive into the Vintage Toy Box.
Action figures each sold separately from Mattel.
Fantastic. So we like to choose any type of toys, collectibles from the 80s and 90s and give you a brief history about it, some origins, pop culture references, our personal connections to it. Just kind of nice little discussion about this. And we're going to be diving into micro machines this week. Keith, take us away.
Well, I mean, micro machines, a lot of us remember these as kids. Either you had them yourself or you would have had a friend that had them. But back in the early 90s, micro machines were really all the rage. Now, micro machines came to us from Galoob, which is actually a part of Hasbro now. And from 1987 through the 90s, we saw a ton of these collections. They came in popular cars. We had trucks of the time. We also got trains, emergency vehicles, tanks, boats, airplanes, helicopters, motorcycles, and a ton more of these. There was lines like the Tough Track series, which had a bunch of the popular TNT motorsports monster trucks. They also had that really popular Gravedigger truck. And when you look at stuff like this and you see these monster trucks, these are just really awesome and really remind me how much fun micro machines were. There was Star Trek and Star Wars models made. There was also models from other franchises like Babylon 5, Power Rangers, even Men in Black, like I guessed on the quote earlier. James Bond, Indiana Jones themed toys were released. And actually, after being bought by Hasbro, Hasbro produced Winner's Circle NASCAR and even G.I. Joe themed toys and play sets. Now, Micro Machine Collection, that collection is known to primarily be downsizing these automobiles. There was also those really cool play sets that we got, including that memorable 1991 fold-out Super Van City, which is super cool. I don't know if you can pull that up, Russ. That's a really cool looking item. Now, when I think back to the 90s and micro machines, I always think about these transforming play sets like the Super Van City. There was ones that could transform from one play set to another, like from a factory into a test track. There was also ones like this that were these giant vehicles that would fold out and change into these play sets. There was also a 6x6, I believe, that transformed into a jungle. But some of my fondest memories of these play sets are the early release ones, especially that one that was like the toy box that transformed into that micro machine city.
Nice. Yeah, certainly micro machines are probably a part of any young boy's life, right? In the 80s and 90s for sure. I did end up digging out some of my micro machines collection here to get into our personal connection with this. And I had this set. I never had the van, but I had this guy here. If you guys remember this.
I
is
remember that one.
Awesome.
It's like a toolbox looking set. It's got a red top, micro machine logo, and then you pop it open and it's got
wow. Look at
one
that.
side you got like a gas station and like car wash, and then you got there was a bridge that would connect these two areas here. So I lost a lot of the parts, unfortunately. But that's my original from growing up, and I have a cup full of my micro machines here. And funny enough, I was setting this up on my little DIY table back there to do some shots. I sent you guys a little video.
Yeah.
And today, when I was in the studio building some stuff, Gwen came upstairs and was literally playing with the micro machines for like 20 minutes.
Nice.
Just having a good time with them. And then she ended up just taking the cars and pushing them off the table, going like, oops, goodbye.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys have this, but I mentioned this briefly last week in the when we were kind of talking about micro machines, but this is the tractor trailer I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
So this opens up on the back. So you open up the top like this, you open up the back, and then
You could load in your
you
cars.
get your little micro machine, and you could just ride up the micro machine right into either the top or the bottom, and then you get the point. They just store on there, and then you close it up, and you could drive off. So yeah, we had that, and then I also have the carrying case.
Nice.
I don't know if
Oh,
you've ever
nice.
seen this, but you would pop this open. If I can still pop it open, yep, there you go. And it's got a lot. Oh, look, there's a micro machine in there. Look at that.
Tucked away.
Freebie.
So yeah, tucked away. So there's lots of spaces for them. I don't know. This could at least hold 50 or so. But I don't know if you guys remember this actually. So you have the standard size micro machine like
Yeah.
that, right? Did you guys ever have the micro
Oh,
machine?
wow.
Micro
Smaller than
machines.
a regular micro
Yeah,
machine.
so
No.
like here's the difference. Like look at the
Wow.
size. Isn't that wild? Now I
I feel like
vaguely
that
remember
little one ended up noses.
yeah, I think what I could be wrong, but I think some of them might have gone into other like smaller micro machines.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm wondering if that's what it was, but I have like 5 of them just like sitting here of those
Gotcha.
little micro ones. Um but yeah, no, these
What
things are
about you,
super
Keith?
cool.
Did you have any of these growing up too?
So growing up, I was lucky enough to have one micro machine. It
Wow.
was a
How do you
little,
get
it
one? Don't
wasn't
they?
this one. I only had one. I don't know where I got it. I have
Mhm.
no idea, but it was one muscle car. It was a yellow one, like a white roof on it. I think I might have something similar here, but that was all I had. Now, I was a bit of a creative kid, and I ended up getting this box, and it was fair size. Something from Christmas we got or whatever it was. But I cut the top of it and made it into like a foot locker so you could fold the top of this box up.
Mhm.
And then using pieces of cardboard, one singular micro machine, and masking tape, I built this little city inside this box with like a little river that ran down the center and a bridge.
Wow.
I can
There you
remember
go.
driving that micro machine, that singular micro machine I had all over that and jumping the bridge with it and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But I only had one, so I had to be really creative. But now I have a bunch. I got a bunch from my buddy Craig. I got a whole bag of his
Nice.
toys, and he gave me this play set here. That is one of those ones that I think they'll clip together. But this is like the service center. I'm missing pieces, so I think I'm gonna
Yeah,
try
I think
to
I had that one.
find all the pieces for this slowly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's tractor trailers, like you said, these little tractor trailers where you can change out the truck for the
Yep.
tanker on this one.
Yeah.
Like, just such a cool toy line. I love them. Wish
And
I
they're
had more
still
as a kid.
making them today. There's new ones out there in the stores.
There is,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
So you could still get new ones on there. There's a lot of knockoffs too that are in stores now too as well.
Yeah.
Did you guys have any favorites growing up?
I did actually. Some of one of my favorites are. I mean, they're pretty much the same one. They're just 2 different color variations. But these are 2 of my favorites. I'll just show you one here. This is basically a race car.
Like a
But
muscle car.
the reason this is one of my favorites is because it literally looks like my dad's race car,
Nice.
and so I really enjoyed playing with these because, you know, my dad's race car. Like, how cool
Yeah.
is it to play with your dad's race car? So, that those are some of my favorite. But then also these like neon, like pink convertibles and stuff like that. Anything that had like the bright colors, I think I gravitated towards.
Nice, nice. I went with supercars. One of mine is like the little Lamborghini I have right here. It's like a yellow Lamborghini, which I thought was great. And also we didn't talk about these before, but these are the color changing ones where if you put them
Oh,
in water, like hot water, it'll turn a different color. So it's like orange right now. I don't have any hot water handy, but I thought these were kind of cool because then you can dip them in some water and you got a different color car. So that one and this cool like Lamborghini looking one I always thought was really awesome.
That is cool looking.
I didn't realize they made color changing micro machines.
Yeah, I got two of them here for sure.
So many different collections came from it, right? I can tell you my favorite one because I only had one. It was that little yellow one with the white roof. If I think I might have something similar in here,
Hmm.
but that was all I had. I
What about
lost it. Oh
marketing
no.
and pop culture impact, David? Can you get us
Yeah,
up to
yeah, let's
speed on
talk
that?
about that real quick. The pop culture impact and the memories that come back when you look at these little tiny toys here. Remembering those early Micro Machine television commercials,
Oh
they
yeah.
were famous for featuring the actor's name is John Moshita Jr. I think he is how you pronounce it. Um, at the time, he was the Guinness Book World Records fastest talker. So because of his work in commercials, he came to be known as the Micro Machines Man. Um, I remember those commercials like yesterday, like, and I can still like. It's one of those things where, like, if you see somebody or like you see a picture of them, or you look at the toy, I'll say this: you look at the toy, instantly in your head, you can hear that toy in his voice. You know what I mean? So like
Absolutely.
that voice is embedded in my brain of like the Micro Machine Man. Um, they were also very memorable because they were featured in the movie Home Alone. A lot of us remember Kevin McAllister. He set up dozens of little micro machines at the bottom of the flight of stairs. So when the wet bandits came running by, they would step on them and slip.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
also, and then they also featured them in the Sega Genesis game. Although at then they were just referred to as like toys because I'm assuming because of licensing. So a lot of pop culture impact. But those commercials, man, like those sold the toys. I mean, I would watch
Absolutely.
those commercials constantly on Nickelodeon, and they would pop up and all the play sets. Like there were so many commercials for Micro Machines, like it was hard not to avoid them, and so much fun. So A+ on that marketing team.
Right. And like you
What
said,
about like value and legacy?
you could hear that guy talking, right?
Yeah,
Like
hundred
that's
percent.
that's part of
We
that legacy, I think,
Yeah.
because like you said, you could look at a picture of him, like we were looking at there. Russ had a bunch of pictures of him. You can hear his voice. You could hear him going on about the Micro Machine. It was such a smart ad campaign, right? And there were so many models released that I feel like anywhere you go, you're gonna find a bag of them, right? You wanna
Right.
play
Yep.
some of this?
Yeah, just play it quick, like so we don't, but it's so fast.
Motorcade of Micro Machines. Each one has dramatic details, terrific trim, precision paint jobs, plus incredible micro machine pocket playsets. There's a police station, fire station, restaurant, service station, and more. Perfect pocket portables to take any place. And there are many miniature playsets to play with, and each one comes with its own special edition micro machine vehicle and fun, fantastic features that miraculously move.
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
say this: marketing genius, because a 30-second commercial is actually like a minute long commercial,
Right,
right.
and he can enunciate it very well. And there's so much eye candy in those toys,
right,
like just flashing left and right. You're like, oh, I could fit these in my pocket. Like, let's go. Let's bring these on trips. Let's bring them to our friend's house. Like, the play sets literally fit in my pocket.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and, like, for the people just listening, like, that commercial shows, like, the little garage doors that you can open up and drive your micro machine and close the garage door behind it and tuck it in. Like, those play sets had such cool play features. It, like, is totally just fun and so many of them, right? Like, there was so many of these models released that they're just absolutely everywhere, and what people don't actually realize is that in the early '90s, Galoob came, like, really close to bankruptcy. So the Micro Machines brand almost ended on us. We might almost never had any of these toys, right? So because of this, Galoob actually rushed out a bunch of the collections as fast as possible just to push them out and jam them into stores. And because of that, many of the collections from 1990 to 1992 are actually a little hard to find. And some of the collections for that age or that time frame
Yeah.
there actually came out on the wrong blister packs because they were pushing them out so fast, just trying to
Messed up in
rake
the
in that
factory.
money, right? That they just messed it up. They
Wow.
didn't. The factory was just pumping them out. So
Yeah, yeah.
this toy line, like you said earlier, David, you can still find them now. They have seen a few revivals. One of them was in 2015. When they released that Star Wars The Force Awakens movie, Hasbro released new themed micro machines, but that
Mhm.
only lasted for about a year, sadly, and only went until the Rogue One movie came out, and then they kind of fell off the radar again. We didn't see them again
Okay.
until the 2020 New York Toy Fair, where new micro machines, like you said, were actually announced and became available as of August of 2020. And that set looks like it includes muscle cars like we had originally.
Mhm.
Like a lot of us were pulling out, like the muscle cars that we like the first ones there. They also had farm machinery, race cars, construction equipment, off-road vehicles, and they even came out with an updated version of that fold-out Super Van City that we saw back in 1991, which is super cool. They did that. So you can still
Wow.
find them. They're still out there, right?
So you can get that Super City like a retro version?
An updated version is what
Yeah,
Wow.
the
I
information
think
that we found. Yeah.
this one here, this black and red one.
Yeah,
Wow,
I
okay.
would assume so, yeah. Yeah,
I might have to go
Wicked
hunting for that.
Wicked Cool Toys is the ones that do them now. That's super neat, right?
Very
Like,
cool, very
So
cool.
so they're the company that makes them today?
today, yes, and I don't know if
Okay.
that possibly could be attached to Hasbro because I know Hasbro did own them for quite a while after they bought the Loop, so
Okay. Well, I guess I'm going to Target tomorrow.
right?
I mean, certainly with this toy line, it probably, like you said, if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, definitely has a place in your heart. And like I said, I experienced it today, like passing it on to my daughter. She was having a blast playing with these micro machines. So, and they're my micro machines from me growing up. So I didn't even have to buy any new ones. So maybe you'll have those memories with your kids too. We'd love to hear your thoughts about micro machines. Did you guys get the play sets? I certainly think it was great marketing that they were so small. They came packed together with a few cars, and you can get, one play set and then maybe a month later get another one and connect them, and now you have a bigger play set
Yeah,
instead of just spending, $100 on some big play set. I'll buy it piece by piece. Great at
Yeah.
marketing in that.
And like you
perfect.
talked about last week when we were talking about them, Russ, they just seemed a little cooler to me and maybe some other people than like those Hot Wheels cars and stuff like that. And for
Yeah.
3 or 4 years, they were actually the top selling toy car line in the US, and they actually outsold at the dollar sales mark, outsold the top 3 of their competition, which would have been Hot Wheels, Matchbox, and I think it was Majorette is the other one. They outsold all 3 of those. Is kind of a
Wow.
Wow.
fact about them.
And again, like I think it's that marketing just nailed it, and the the travel ease with it, right? Putting it in
Yeah.
pockets, you can put the cars in the whole playset in a nice case, put it in your pocket. With Matchbox cars, they're a little bit bigger, and it's like maybe they're clanking around in your pockets more. They're not as,
Mhm.
even though they are small. I don't know, just being a little bit smaller just made
Just
it
pockets
that
full
much
of micro
easier.
machines, right?
And since you guys mentioned those little play sets, you know what that reminds me of? These are the car versions of another toy line that maybe we'll talk about in the future. Mighty Max.
Right,
Oh,
it's a good one.
Tiny toys, man.
Might
right?
might be in a future vintage toy box.
I
We'll see.
loved tiny toys.